Hi everyone, Kevin Creighton at shootingillustrated.com. Today on iCarry we have a CZ P07 carried in a JM Custom Kydex holster. Okay, let's be clear about one thing. I'm kind of the CZ guy at Shooting Illustrated. I like their pistols. My first pistol ever was a CZ, and I carried the previous version of this pistol, the P07 Duty, for a number of years as my daily carry gun. I like this gun. It's got some nice features on it though. There's a lot to like about it. It's got pick rail up front for any accessory you want. Polymer frame, just like we're used to these days, so it's actually quite light. It's got a really interesting trigger on it. It's got what's called, this was the first gun to come up with CZ's Omega trigger. Now what this does is, you can run it as a double action, single action gun, as I have it set up for here, or you can swap up some parts and this decocking lever becomes a safety. And then you can run it as a 1911. And I think that's really cool because you're getting essentially two guns in one. Me personally though, I like the double action, single action. I find it easy to run. It's what I learned on. Did it take a little more time? Yeah, actually it did. Is the payoff worth it? Yeah, actually I think it is. But let's talk a little bit more about this gun. Okay, I'll admit it takes a little bit longer to learn how to run a double action, single action gun like the P07 than it does to learn something like a striker fired gun like a Glock or a single action gun like a 1911. However, the payoff is that once you learn how to run a double action, single action gun, you can run just about anything properly, from a long, heavy double action revolver to a 1911 to just about any gun out there. If you can run a double action, single action trigger, the world is your oyster. And that's why I actually don't mind them for people who are just starting out. Takes a little bit more effort, but you get more payoff at the end. Now these days it's really common to see people talk a lot about striker fired guns, and they're great, I love them. But the fact of the matter is a good DASA gun is just a joy to shoot. And the CZ P07 is definitely a good DASA gun. One of the things I like about it, it has its CZ's traditional great ergonomics. There's just the right amount of stippling on it. It feels good in the hands, and it's got the nice little touch of a little bit of stippling along the frame so you know exactly where to put your finger when it's not, shouldn't be on the trigger. And that's a really nice touch, and I like it. The gun holds 15+1 rounds, and there's a nice aftermarket selection of accessories out there, including things like sights, triggers, and even people will mill that top of that slide for a red dot. So if you're looking to get into a double action, single action gun, and don't necessarily want to go with some other manufacturers out there, then the CZ P07 is a good way for you to start. JM Custom Kydex has a reputation of being one of the premier Kydex holster manufacturers, and their AIWB holster is evidence of that fact. Now, one of the things about being a CZ person is that there's just not the same selection of accessories that you find for a CZ that you find for other brands. But fortunately for me and other CZ owners, JM Custom Kydex does offer a wide variety of holsters for different CZ pistols. Their AIWB holster is one of the great ones. It's just well built, the mold lines are crisp on it, the pistol fit in the holster right out of the bat just perfectly. It is a terrific holster, and it is one of the more comfortable AIB holsters that I've ever used. Having a defensive firearm on you is one thing, but having the means to save a life on you, well, that's another thing that's even better. That's why I like carrying a tourniquet around me no matter where I go. And that can be a bit of a challenge because most of the solutions that are out there for carrying a tourniquet are really geared towards law enforcement and paramedics. I found, however, that the Blue Force Gear 10-speed M4 pouch will hold an SOFT tourniquet very nicely, and it's something that's just a little bit larger than a pistol magazine in a pouch. So as a result, I can have a tourniquet with me no matter where I go, and I can have that ready to use on me rather than have to run out to my car and grab my first aid kit. And to me, that's a huge plus. Now for more information on the CZ P07 or the other gear that we've shown you today, be sure to visit shootingillustrated.com. And check back often because we do one of these about once a week and we don't want to have you miss one.